Walmart decided to try something a little different with the launch of Nintendo Switch 2. According to Modern Retail, Walmart delivered every Nintendo Switch 2 console pre-ordered by customers by 9 a.m. local time, and some even arrived as early as 7 a.m. And customers did not have to pay for the extra express delivery. Additionally, to the surprise of shoppers, some of whom shared on social media, the retailer included Coca-Cola bottles and Pringles chips alongside the consoles for free as an extra wow factor. David Gugina, the EVP and Chief E-commerce Officer for Walmart US, said the company wanted to use the launch to bring awareness of how quickly the company can deliver food items alongside general merchandise. Brooks, we're going to you first on this one. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. With the unique approach to the Nintendo Switch 2 launch, has Walmart forever changed the merchandising game around hot new product releases?
Well, and you had me at free snacks. So
You
if
and
I
me
could
both,
just,
Brooks.
yes, if I could
Once you
just get
pop
my,
it, you can't stop it, right, Brooks? That's the whole
no, what?
tagline, right?
Well, you're exactly right about that. If I could just get my teenagers out of bed before 9 a.m. to pick up that package, somebody tell me that secret. Even
This
7
might
a.m.,
be,
you said.
yeah,
Yeah.
this might be motivation to get out of bed, a new gaming console. Maybe. We'll see.
Something feels amazingly ingenious about what Walmart pulled off here. I'll be
Yeah.
eager to hear more about the results and the execution. This feels like a big win for Walmart, Nintendo, Coke and Pringles, I'll say, which were along for the ride.
Yep.
Hmm.
There are people that like to wait in long lines for a launch. These people exist. I'm not
Hmm.
one of them. This is service with a smile. Nothing pairs better with gaming than Coke and Pringles. So, hey, kudos to Walmart for this vision. I
Yet,
absolutely love it.
yet, how do you think, and were you surprised, Brooks, that Walmart was the one to kind of upend or to kind of change the merchandising game around, how they do these product drops?
Well, I've loved Walmart's vision the last couple of years, the imagination. I love that creativity. I think this is the future. I
Yeah.
think it's a game
Yeah.
changer, as you said.
Chris, how about you? You're one of the merchants of the group here. I mean, how much of an impact do you think this is going to have for even competitors in the space who are all trying to figure out how to launch these products in new and exciting ways?
Yeah, it's a great question, and having been at live in the war rooms during these product launches back in my Target days, I think 100% yes. I think Brooks is right. This has changed the game forever, and the reason I say that is because retailers are creatures of habit. They don't do anything until they see somebody else do it and do it
Yeah.
successfully, and then they all follow suit, almost like lemmings to a point. And so that's what this is about. It's an approach. I mean, Brooks hit on a little bit. It's an approach that beats standing in line and getting to the store only to be disappointed to find out, that what you wanted to get is no longer available, or even to go into the store to pick up your pre-order. So,
Yeah.
and then you get the extra surprises of Coke and Pringles to boot. So, yes, my guess is the rest of the industry, and really the only players we're talking about in this space are Best Buy, Target. It used to be GameStop. I don't know how
Yeah.
much they're still in this game, but
Hmm.
really that's who we're talking about. And I wouldn't be surprised if the next time this comes around, all of them are going to do something very, very similar.
Yeah, especially with a category that is really one of the things that had been really driving people to stores. Like it was so important for people to have these product drops. Bryson, what are your thoughts here? I mean, what do you think about how this is going to change? Like what Chris said, how maybe even Target or some other retailers, Best Buy, start to market these product drops?
Yeah, no, I think it's the change is going to be meaningful and significant. And I think Swift as well. I think just given the success that Walmart achieved in this drop, not only with the surprise and delight of their customers that participated, but also the word of mouth buzz that was generated through this, right? On platforms where you traditionally don't see Walmart indexing, right? The gaming platforms where these cohorts engage. So the word of mouth, the positivity you achieve through it, but then I think also too, then flipping over to the brand side, really that coveted access to those consumer insights and
Hmm.
really that deep meaning, the ability to establish that deep meaningful connection one-on-one, where brands are struggling with competing with share of mind with their consumers, obviously reducing assortments in store, competing for offline purchases and elsewhere. So for Walmart to bridge that gap and not only identify a key cohort that is vitally important to Coca-Cola, Pringles, and other brands, and then be able to make that connection, I think is a huge win. And you're going to see much more excitement and actually now brands starting to pull and push and setting that expectation. So I think, it could be a little bit of the genie's out of the bottle. So be careful what you wish for, but I think you're going to see more brands now flooding for that direct one-to-one connect with their retail partners.
100%. Yeah, I think that's the brand play here is just brilliant. And I think this is definitely going to be one of those other touch points, like you're saying, Bryson, that where it's retail media, but then how do I intercept and get in there in front of our consumers at home, and how do I get in front of them in the store? And I think the number one thing that you just mentioned that got me thinking here is the swiftness of how this can happen. I think it's really important to call out who's speaking on Walmart's behalf in this article. It's David Gugina. It's not the brand rep. It's not the electronics buyer. It's really the supply chain team. And when you think about all the logistics that have to go into making this be executed as flawlessly as it was, to deliver in some cases by 7 a.m., like this involves coordination at a scale that Walmart clearly is ready to do. Are Best Buy and Target also equipped with their internal operations to handle an execution like this? That's the question that I have for how quickly we'll end up seeing some of the other retailers follow suit. But Chris, it looks like you got a point to close on here.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, because David Gugina, for those that maybe aren't as familiar with him as you are, Ann, he was formerly the EVP of supply chain and now is the head of e-commerce. So he brings those chops to the table to execute this. So your question about can other people replicate it is really interesting. The other point, though, that I think about is that I actually think this is an easier model to execute than the traditional pre-order drop in the store as well, because who's demanding the items, and you just got to get them to them. And then the last point I make is I also think this is very repeatable across other product categories. Like I think of fashion drops and things like that, like our former employer loves to do as well. So like this is very, very easy to do and replicate across the industry, it doesn't have to stay within electronic shops. Bryson, close us out with the last word.
Yeah, and Chris, I think you brought up a relevant point that we really haven't given a lot of attention to, right? And that is the impact on the physical stores, right? So to prepare for and be able to facilitate these drops, look, over the past years, it's come at some risk for retailers, right? Queuing up long lines, dissatisfied customers who weren't able to get their hands on the product, customers chomping at the bit and rushing through the store to be able to find that product. So it really alleviates a lot of the potential legacy headaches that we've had and we've seen in these traditional drops, whether it's Black Friday and new product releases. So there is a knockdown benefit of that, and too, in the sense of being able to control the narrative and satisfy all the customers as opposed to sending away some dissatisfied.
Yeah, great point. And not even just the stores, online too, because you can actually overfulfill your demand online and then have to issue a lot of apology notices on the back end of that, as well, as I've been a part of in the past as well. So yes, so there's a lot of operational wins here too.